Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Destination Happiness. In today's episode, we're diving into a topic that I know a lot of you may benefit from hearing about, the pros and cons of moving to Australia. If you've ever thought about packing up your bags and heading to Australia, then this video is for you. I've been living in Australia for 2 years now, and trust me, it's been an adventure. There's a lot to love about this country, but also a few things that you should be aware of before making the big move. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'll start with the pros. Number one, it's super relaxed and outdoorsy. Let's kick things off with a lifestyle. One of the first things you'll notice is how laid back everything feels. Honestly, every day feels like a Saturday. People here know how to take life slow and enjoy it. There is a big focus on work-life balance. A lot of workplaces let you start early, so you can finish early, which means that you get more time to enjoy the afternoons. You'll find people heading to the beach, grabbing a coffee at a cafe, or even just chilling out in the park after work. It really does feel like people live here rather than just work. Number two, the weather. I can't talk about Australia without mentioning the weather. It's one of the biggest perks of living here. It's mostly sunny all year round, especially if you're up in Queensland. There's something about the sunshine that just puts you in a good mood. It's hard not to feel positive when the sky is blue and you're not far from a beautiful beach. Plus, you'll spend way more time outdoors, whether it's barbecuing with friends, hiking, or just soaking up the sun by the ocean. Okay, number three, higher pay and good job opportunities. Okay, so let's talk about money. One of the great things about Australia is the high minimum wage. The pay here is pretty solid, with the minimum award rate sitting around $24.10, which is about £12.30 if you're from the UK. Depending on what field you're in, you could be earning a really decent salary, and there are plenty of job opportunities, especially in cities like Sydney and Melbourne. Even part-time jobs in hospitality or retail pay fairly well compared to other countries. Okay, number four, personal growth and becoming independent. One of the biggest benefits of moving to Australia is how much you'll grow as a person. Living far away from your family and familiar surroundings forces you to become independent. You'll learn how to manage everyday things, from setting up your bank account, building a new social circle from scratch, and finding a place to live without the safety net of friends and family nearby. Because of all of this, you'll build confidence in making decisions and problem solving by yourself. This new independence helps you grow emotionally and mentally, and you'll find yourself more resilient and resourceful than you were before. Plus, experiencing life in a different culture broadens your horizons, helping you see the world from a fresh perspective. Number five, meeting incredible people. Whether it's other expats, travellers, or Aussies themselves, the people here are generally friendly and open. There's a big social scene, especially in the coastal cities, and it's easy to make friends through work or social activities. I found that the people here are genuinely curious about where you're from and why you've moved to Australia, which is a great conversation starter. Number six, unique wildlife. Australia's wildlife is honestly like no other. Depending on where you are, you'll see kangaroos, koalas, and those crazy cockatoos and ibises that are everywhere. The birds here are something else. You'll wake up to the sound of kookaburras laughing, and it just feels so Australian. It's a unique part of living here that never really gets old. Okay, number seven, adventure at your fingertips. Days off here are next level. You can head off on a road trip, visit waterfalls, or spend the day hiking in one of Australia's national parks. You've got places like the Blue Mountains, the Great Barrier Reef, and Kagari. All these stunning natural wonders that make you feel like you're living in a postcard. Number eight, safe and clean cities. Another great thing is how safe and clean the cities are. I've never felt in danger walking around, even at night. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, they all feel well maintained and just pleasant to live in. It's nice knowing you're in a place that feels secure. Number nine, English speaking. Of course, Australia is an English speaking country, so if you're coming from the UK, the US, or anywhere else where English is the main language, there's no language barrier to worry about. It makes adjusting to life here that much easier, so there's no need to learn a whole new language just to get by. Let's have a look at the cons now. Number one, Cost of living. It's expensive. So the thing is, Australia is not cheap. The cost of living is one of the downsides. Whether you're doing a weekly food shop, getting around, or just grabbing a coffee, things can be pricey. Rents, especially in Sydney, can be a bit of a shock. And because Australia is so huge, getting around can be expensive too. Flights between cities or road trips add up quickly. However, because the pay is so good here, once you're on your feet, the cost of things really isn't an issue, only if you're here on holiday. Number 2, you're far from family and friends. This is probably one of the hardest parts, being so far away from home. The distance between Australia and, say, UK or Europe is massive. The time difference makes it tricky to keep in touch, and sometimes when you're feeling homesick or need to talk to your family, they're asleep. It can be tough, especially during holidays or big life events, to be so far away from the people that you love. Okay, number 3, missing home. One thing people don't talk about enough is that when you visit home after being away, it doesn't feel the same. Things change, and so do you. You'll always miss the version of home that you left behind, but when you go back, you'll realise that it's different, and you can never really get that feeling back. It's kind of bittersweet. Number 4, it's hard to stay long term. Australia has pretty strict visa rules, so if you really fall in love with a place and want to stay long term, it's not always easy. Permanent residency can be tricky to get, depending on your skills or situation. You might find yourself in limbo, not sure if you can make Australia your forever home. Number 5, saying goodbye. Often saying goodbye becomes a regular thing. Whether it's friends you've made here who are moving on, or your family back home, goodbyes are always hard. You'll find yourself constantly saying goodbye to people, sometimes for long periods of time, and that can be tough to handle emotionally. Number 6, early closing time. Cafes shut early. One thing I didn't expect when I moved here is that cafes tend to close super early. If you're someone who enjoys grabbing a late afternoon coffee or hanging out in the cafes after 3 PM, you might be surprised to find that most places shut down by then, especially if you're from Europe and used to a more vibrant cafe culture where things stay open later. Number 7, dealing with the heat and wildlife. While the weather is mostly great, it can get really hot in the summer. We're talking 40 degrees plus Celsius in certain places. And let's not forget about the wildlife. Yes, there are kangaroos, but there are also spiders and snakes to be aware of. Did you know that huntsman spiders are so big that you can hear their footsteps? You'll get used to it though, but it is still something to consider. So there you have it, the pros and cons of moving to Australia. It's an incredible country with so much to offer, but like anywhere, it does have its challenges. So if you're thinking about making the move, I hope this video has given you some insight into what to expect. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions or if you've already made the leap down under. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any future episodes of Destination Happiness. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.